More than 2,200 Yemenis have died from cholera since late April. The disease continues to spread in what the UN has called the world's worst cholera outbreak. The International Committee of the Red Cross says Yemen now has 1 million cases.
Cholera, even though these figures are medieval figures, 1 in 27 Yemenis probably contracted cholera during this year. But now we see an outbreak of diphtheria. Why? Because children have not been vaccinated. And we wonder what next.
More than 80% of Yemenis can't get food or clean water and lack access to health care and fuel. Adding to their misery, aid groups have struggled to deliver supplies since November. That's when the Saudi-led coalition blocked all ports of entry, saying it needed to halt the flow of weapons to the rebel Houthis. Bowing to international pressure, the coalition has allowed some aid in, but the UN says it's still not at the level required to help the more than 20 million people in need. A shortage of commercial goods is also driving up prices.
The price hike will cause starvation of thousands of people. Many goods can't enter the market because of the closed airports and ports. On the other hand, we don't have enough money to buy things. Not only the people, but the whole country is struggling to survive.
More than 2.5 years of war has battered the country's infrastructure, making the water supply unreliable. And Yemenis are trapped in a dangerous cycle. Malnutrition compromises the immune system, and cholera exacerbates malnutrition.
UN Jerusalem vote, General Assembly rules against U.S. declaring recognition of Israel capital null and void. Several Latin American and African nations abstained from vote after America threatened to cut aid programs. Mr. Netanyahu also thanked Mr. Trump for his stalwart defense of Israel, also joining the U.S. and Israel were Togo, Guatemala, Nauru, Palau, Micronesia, Marshall Islands, and Honduras. Despite the disapproval of so many countries, Richard Gowan, a UN expert at the European Council on Foreign Relations, told The Independent, "The vote is still a win for Trump in a perverse way. It fits with his tough guy anti-globalist image. If he had backed down in the face of UN pressure, he would have looked hollow to his domestic supporters," Mr. Gowan said. You get the feeling Trump knew that they weren't going to go for this to begin with. It was just another plot to get more publicity. I think so.
The result of the vote is as follows. In favor, 128. Against, 9. Abstentions, 35. Draft Resolution A/DS-10/L22 is adopted.
Let's return now to the debate at the UN General Assembly on the status of Jerusalem that's going to begin shortly. Now, Priyanka Gupta explains how a series of events over the past century have shaped today's developments.
The status of Jerusalem is at the heart of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict and is hugely symbolic for both sides. And to understand why, we need to go back 70 years ago. That's when a UN vote carved up Palestinian land into two states, a Jewish and an Arab one, in 1947. Under this partition plan, Jerusalem was given a special international status to be governed by the UN. But a year later, Israel declared itself a state, triggering the first Arab-Israeli war. That's when Israel captured more territory, leading to the division of Jerusalem. West Jerusalem came under Israeli control, that's marked in green over there, and East Jerusalem, marked in red, was under Jordanian rule. Then, in 1967, after a 6-day war, Israel occupied East Jerusalem, and it's still under Israeli control despite UN resolutions saying it's illegal. Fast forward to 13 years later, in 1980, Israel further consolidated its grip over the city. Its parliament declared Jerusalem as its eternal and indivisible capital, but the international community rejected that. Now, Palestinians see East Jerusalem as a capital of the future state, but it's not just a Palestinian issue. Jerusalem holds religious and symbolic significance for the world's 3 major faiths, Islam, Judaism, and Christianity. The Al-Aqsa Mosque, the Western Wall, and the Church of the Holy Sepulchre are all in Jerusalem.
The capital of South Carolina is now the first city in the U.S. to ban the use of bump stocks. 2 months after a gunman uses a weapon modified with the device to take the lives of 58 Las Vegas concertgoers and injure nearly 500 others.
There's no good reason for them to be on the streets of America. And it's high time that someone decide to step up and speak up and do something about it.
The city passed the ordinance Tuesday, making it illegal to attach bump stocks to firearms within city limits. It does not ban residents from purchasing or owning the accessory.
Merely possessing them does not make them illegal, but once you attach them to a firearm and it turns into the killing machine that it is, then we've got to make sure that we act on behalf of the public interest.
The device, found online for as low as $23, causes the stock on the rifle to bounce back and forth between the shooter's shoulder and trigger finger, producing rapid fire.
I believe that they're doing it as a feel-good legislation to make their constituents think that they're doing something about violence in general.
Shira Scott says anyone can take something good and use it for bad.
Like, you can't legislate evil away and you can't legislate stupidity away.
The mayor says anyone caught violating the new ordinance will be charged with a misdemeanor. They could pay up to a $500 fine and they could face up to 30 days in jail. In Columbia, South Carolina, Therese Garnier, Fox News.
The number of cases of painkillers, alcohol abuse, are on the rise, and this is indeed a national emergency. And that despair, the stress factor, if you will, has led a lot of people to, seek out these behaviors, whether it's alcohol abuse or drug abuse, and you name it.
He was able to assist her.
The Columbia Police Department calling Craig Turman a hero Wednesday, honoring the man for his effort to preserve public safety when he helped an officer make an arrest.
Glad you're okay. Be sure I listen to what you say. Okay, that's enough.
Oh, yeah. Turman watched Officer Ashley Hardesty's arrest quickly turn into a wrestling match outside a Columbia gas station on Tuesday.
I saw some of her belongings hit the ground.
All Turman knew was he didn't want to see the situation escalate.
I had tunnel vision.
He says something told him to stick around.
She done did everything she could. It was going to get ugly, something had to be done.
Hardesty used her taser and mace on a man accused of punching a store clerk and pulling out a knife. The man wouldn't back down.
There's something inside of me that I done seen before, and I'm just tired of seeing the violence. The next step will probably be fatal. So I think I'm trying to save his life also.
That's when Turman stepped in, allowing Hardesty to handcuff the suspect. He was quickly praised for his efforts.
Nice tackle. She was able to get him handcuffed, and he's in jail now. I'm an ex-criminal, and it just felt good to actually have the law pat me on my back.
There's even more to Craig Turman's story. Right now, he's homeless and living at the transition shelter in Columbia. He hopes his story can make a difference.
Wow, this happened. This guy is in a homeless shelter, and he did something like this. If you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. So I stood for something yesterday.
Are you glad you did?
Yeah, kind of, sort of.
That was good form, too. Your head was up.
The man arrested Tuesday was Donald Brown. His criminal record dates all the way back to 2001. A judge denied him bail Wednesday morning, and he's facing several charges, including attempted murder and armed robbery.